Hi everybody, it's Catherine again. Outside has been pouring rain all day, so it's a perfect day just to snuggle down with a little blanket and listen to a good story. So here we go. The name of this story is Receiving. In the South, at a very young age, children begin what is referred to as receiving. Natchez is well known for its tourism, and that mostly relates to the fact that there are many antebellum homes that are put on tour. There were two garden clubs in Natchez when I was growing up, the Pilgrimage Garden Club and the Natchez Garden Club. Our family were members of the Pilgrimage Garden Club, and one of the Southern traditions was receiving. This was done by adults as well as children. It could be a whole lot of fun or not, depending on your age and the home you were receiving in. When we were 7, 8, and 9, Penny, Ann, and I would mostly receive at Hope Farm. It was a lovely antebellum home and owned by Catherine and Balfour Miller. Everybody called Catherine Miller Play Mama, but I was never sure why, because she really didn't play with us, never. But we adored her. She made us as children feel very important. I was named after her, so I was her namesake. That came with no special privileges when receiving at Hope Farm. We wore little white pantaloons under our hoop skirts and antebellum dresses. They were heavy and a little itchy, but they were beautiful. Penny and I had matching dresses. The tops were fitted black velvet jackets that buttoned pan collar around your neck. It had a cluster of small red berries that sat right on top of the button. The skirts had a pattern that was tiny red and white squares, and the skirt was made of taffeta. It was full over the hoop skirts. We usually wore white leggings and ballerina slippers, or sometimes black patent shoes. We were very fancy for being so young. There were many rooms in the main house, as well as rooms and halls that branched out on the side of the house. Each room had antique furniture in them, and each piece had a history behind it, and that was the hard part. You had to rehearse with Play Mama to learn the history, and when retelling back to her, you better get it right. The audience touring the home often asked questions, and you were expected to have the answers. One afternoon, we were late getting to Hope Farm, and when we got there, Play Mama said, "Catherine, you and Penny will be in the blue room on the side porch. Now hurry up and go out there because the tour's already started." I frantically looked at her. I was about 7 and said, "But Play Mama, I don't know anything about the furniture in the blue room. What do we say?" She looked at me like I had two heads and whispered, "Make it up." Then she was shushing us away and off to greet her guests. Free rein on what to say about each piece of furniture? Big mistake. I took Penny's hand and pulled her with me to the blue room. We had barely put the little gold-braided rope back up. This kept us in and tourists out when two elderly women came to the door. "Oh, Elizabeth Bell." Most names in the South were referred to using your first and middle names together. "Just look at these two darlings." And then the questions began. "Girls, do you know what that little table in the middle of the room is used for and where it came from?" Penny stared at me and started frantically turning her head right to left and muttering, "No, ma'am." They looked at me. I knew I bought my guppies at McCrory's dime store uptown, so maybe, and I said in my strongest voice, "Why, yes, ma'am, from McCrory's on Franklin Street." They smiled at me and asked what the lovely blue and white vase on the floor was for. Without missing a beat, I said, "Why, it's to pee in when you have to go really bad." Somehow in my mind, I thought I'd heard that, but it was actually a spittoon for the gentleman's tobacco. Their last question was, "And what is that beautiful armoire in the corner used for?" Penny blurted out, "Hide and seek." And that's when I saw Play Mama standing behind them. Uh-oh. I just knew Penny and I would not get ice cream and cookies that day. It was the highlight of receiving. But after chatting with the two ladies, Play Mama came in the room, took one look at us. I know my lip was quivering and Penny was doing the pee-pee dance. And she wrapped her arms around both of us, gave us a smile, and told us to get to the kitchen. There was ice cream and cookies waiting on us. We saw her talking to Mama when Mama came to get us. They were both laughing and seemed happy, and we were back the next day. But this time, we were on time. We heard that story told so many times as we got older. To this day, I still remember some of the furniture pieces and their history. A great memory of those younger years in Natchez, Mississippi.